The rules of the game just changed, and the winners have already been named in advance. Forget the speculation. Forget the YouTube hype. We just got the headline moment we've been tracking for years. The US Senate just dropped a crypto market structure draft bill that does something unprecedented. It officially creates a protected category for assets that were listed on national ETFs by January 1st, 2026. 8 assets, one lane, total regulatory immunity. If you are holding XRP, Solana, or Hydera, you aren't just holding tokens anymore. You are holding legally recognized commodities in the world's new crypto capital. I am the quiet analyst BHW. Today, we go inside the Senate's draft bill to see why the non-ancillary classification is the green light that BlackRock, KK, and Fidelity were waiting for to flood this market. Lock in, stay quiet, stay quiet. Now let's look at the actual mechanics of this shift. When Paul Atkins speaks, the market listens. Not because of hype, but because he is the architect of the new regulatory era. On Fox Business, he didn't promise a moonshot. He promised modernization. For the first time in U.S. history, we have a signed statute, the Genius Act, that officially recognizes digital assets. This isn't a theory, it's a law. But the real game changer is the Clarity Act currently in the Senate. Its goal is simple: to draw a permanent line between the SEC and the SCFTC. Why does this matter to you? Because institutional capital is allergic to confusion. A bank doesn't care about a Twitter hype cycle. They care about jurisdictional certainty. By ending the gray zone, the US is signaling to the world's pension funds and endowments that the rules are finally locked. And as Paul Atkins mentioned, when the rules are clear, the excuses for staying on the sidelines disappear. This isn't about picking winners or losers. It's about building the infrastructure where capital can finally flow legally and safely. We are moving from an era of lawsuits to an era of legislation. And in this new era, only those with the infrastructure already built will be ready to catch the tide. This is positioning. This is strategy. Stay sharp, stay quiet, stay quiet. Now, let's go deeper into the heart of the Senate's draft bill. This is the part that lawyers and compliance officers are studying right now, and it's where the real signals are hidden. Inside this draft, there is a specific provision that defines what the Senate calls non-ancillary assets. Let me translate the legal jargon for you. An ancillary asset is typically a token that might have started as part of an investment contract, but a non-ancillary asset is a token that has reached a level of decentralization and utility, where it is treated as a pure commodity. The bill sets a critical benchmark. If a digital asset is the underlying primary asset of an ETF listed on a national exchange by January 1st, 2026, it qualifies for this protected status. Look at this list. These 8 assets are being treated as equals under the new framework. This isn't because a politician likes them, it's because they have met the institutional scale requirement. They have survived the regulatory gauntlet. They have existing futures markets, custody solutions, and most importantly, national ETF filings. For XRP, this is the moment of final vindication. After years of litigation, it is now being grouped with Bitcoin and Ethereum as a core pillar of the US crypto market. For Solana and HAR, it confirms their role as the high-speed rails for the new tokenized economy. And even for Dogecoin, its inclusion on this list is a recognition of its massive liquidity and global distribution. But pay attention to what this classification actually does. It effectively shields these assets from the security label. No more retroactive lawsuits. No more shifting definitions from the SEC. When a token is classified this way, it means a pension fund or a multi-billion-dollar endowment can buy it without career risk. They are no longer buying a crypto experiment. They are buying a legally defined asset class. This is the shift from survival mode to expansion mode. The reason the price might feel flat or boring right now is because this legislation is still in the draft and revision phase. Pause. Smart money doesn't wait for the final signing ceremony to start positioning, but they also don't move with the noise of retail. Pause. They move when the legal path is clear. And as we sit here in January 2026, the path has never been clearer for these 8 names. The winners aren't being picked by luck. They are being recognized by the law. Understand the difference. Position with logic, not emotion. To understand where we are going, we have to understand the ground we are standing on. Late last year, the world changed when the Genius Act was signed into law. This wasn't just another bill. It was the first official federal recognition of a digital asset as a legitimate part of the US financial stack. This law did something critical. It stripped the SEC of its power to categorize stablecoins as unregistered securities and place them under a clear banking-grade regulatory framework. Now look at Ripple. While the world was focused on RLUSD, Ripple was quietly preparing for the next phase, the second stablecoin. Why does Ripple need a second one? Because in the world of the quadrillions, one currency isn't enough to handle the friction of global settlement. This second stablecoin isn't just a retail token. It is designed to be the institutional settlement layer that fits perfectly into the Genius Act's new standards. We are talking about a tokenized asset that can move between central banks and private institutions with the same legal certainty as a wire transfer, but with the speed of light. Think about what Paul Atkins said on Fox Business. He talked about modernizing the markets. You don't modernize a system by using 50-year-old rails. You modernize it by creating programmable liquidity. Ripple's second stablecoin is expected to act as the primary pair for the Elite 8 assets we discussed. Imagine a world where a pension fund can swap their tokenized treasuries into a Ripple-backed stablecoin and then instantly into XRP for cross-border movement, all under the full protection of US federal law. The Genius Act provided the permission slip. Ripple provided the infrastructure. But here is the quiet insight most people are missing. The yield ban on traditional stablecoins is creating a vacuum. Institutions are looking for utility-driven liquidity. They want assets that don't just sit there, but assets that work. By launching a second stablecoin specifically geared toward the new market structure, Ripple is effectively building its own internal liquidity engine. They are no longer waiting for the banks to build the rails. They are the rails. This is why this week feels different. It's not about one announcement, it's about the alignment. The Law Genius Act, the regulator Paul Atkins, and the infrastructure Ripple have finally converged. And for those asking why the price hasn't exploded today, remember what we said about the gray zone. The smart money is currently positioning, not promising. They are setting up their custody. They are testing the bridges. And they are waiting for the final Clarity Act to move from a draft to a signature. The foundation is poured, the concrete is drying, and Ripple is building a skyscraper where everyone else is still digging in the dirt. Stay focused, stay positioned, stay quiet. Let's talk about the world's most powerful gatekeepers, BlackRock, and Fidelity. For years, the retail market has been asking when XRP ETF, when Solana ETF. And for years, the answer was always buried in a mountain of regulatory rejection letters and SEC delays. But look at the calendar. We are in January 2026. The draft bill from the Senate has just redefined the entire process. The most explosive part of this legislation is the procedural shift under the new market structure. If an asset is classified as a non-ancillary digital commodity, an ETF filing moves from being political to being procedural. What does this mean for Larry Frink and the team at BlackRock? It means the career risk we discussed is gone. BlackRock, and Fidelity do not chase volatility. They chased certainty. They waited for the legal definitions of the Elite 8 to be etched in stone. Now that XRP and Solana are being treated with the same legal clarity as Bitcoin and Ethereum, the internal green light has been given. Think about the untapped demand. Right now, 2 of the 3 largest ETF issuers in the United States haven't even fully entered the altcoin room yet. This is not bearish. It is the single largest inflow catalyst sitting on the table. The institutions don't announce their moves on Twitter to get likes. They wait for the legal permission slip. And that permission slip is exactly what this Senate draft represents. Once this bill is signed, the conversation changes from can we list this to how fast can we scale it. We are moving into a phase where retirement funds, endowments, and sovereign wealth capital can finally touch these assets. These players are not looking to trade the noise. They are looking to build multi-dead positions in the standard settlers of the 21st century. And let's be real about XRP. With the XRP ETF door now wide open and the SEC's old arguments rendered irrelevant by the new law, the XRP smiling meme is becoming a corporate reality. The smart money isn't waiting for the price to hit $5 or $10 to get excited. They are excited now because they can finally see the legal rails. If you are waiting for the big bang moment where everyone suddenly agrees it's time to buy, you've already missed the positioning phase. The giants are in the hallway, the keys are in the lock, and the gray zone that kept the trillions out is being demolished in real time. Now we come to the most important part of this briefing, the part that separates the successful investor from the one who gets washed out by the noise. I know what you're thinking. If the Genius Act is law and if the Senate is marking up the market structure bill tomorrow, why is the price not at an all-time high right now? The answer is simple. Institutional positioning is a process, not a pump. As we saw on January 9th, Chairman Tim Scott and the Senate Banking Committee aren't looking for confetti cannons. They're conducting markups. They're debating language, fine-tuning definitions, and ensuring that the elite 8 assets have a foundation that can hold for the next 50 years. While retail traders are staring at 1-minute candles, praying for a 10% move, the smart money is staring at the legislative calendar. They know that once the Clarity Act is finalized, likely in the coming months of 2026, the gray zone officially closes forever. And when a door closes for uncertainty, it opens for trillions. But trillions do not enter a market in a single day. They enter through a drip feed of compliance, custody, and ETF expansion. Patrick Witt told you at Ripple Swell that this was coming. Paul Atkins told you on Fox Business that modernization is here. They are giving you the map, but they aren't going to carry you to the treasure. Your job right now is to resist the urge to overtrade. In a world where 99% of people are chasing the next big thing, the 1% are holding the only big thing. Legally recognized high-utility assets that are integrated into the global financial motherboard. If you feel bored, if you feel impatient, if you're wondering why nothing is happening, congratulations. You are witnessing the birth of a mature asset class. This is the exact moment where generational wealth is either secured or lost. It is lost by those who sell because of boredom, and it is secured by those who understand that certainty is the ultimate value driver. The institutions are relaxing. They are waiting for the final signatures. They are preparing their treasuries. The question is, are you moving with them or are you still reacting to the noise? The blueprint is on the table. The winners have been named. All that is left is the discipline to wait for the ink to dry. Position with purpose. Invest with logic. And as always, stay sharp, stay positioned, stay quiet. We are standing at the end of the old world and the absolute beginning of the new rails. The signals from this week, from Paul Atkins on Fox Business to the Senate's markup session, are not coincidences. They are the final synchronization of a system that has been 12 years in the making. So much the Genius Act is law. The Clarity Act is drafting the winners, and the Elite 8 led by XRP have been granted the institutional pass that trillions of dollars have been waiting for. Most people will wait for the price to explode before they believe it. But by then, the positioning phase is over so much. The 1% do not buy the explosion. They buy the certainty that leads to it. The only question left is, are you quiet enough to hear the money moving? I am the quiet analyst. Stay sharp, stay positioned, and as always, stay quiet.